look at the lead-based paint addendum. This is only required if it's built before 1978, okay? And how do you know if a property is built before 1978? We're going to use MAD again. We're going to go to MLS. There's our MLS sheet. And you can look on MLS, it's year built, and this is 1948. So therefore, this property requires a lead-based paint addendum. You're also going to look at, so we got a 1948 is when this was built. So you need a lead-based paint addendum. You can also check agent remarks to see if there's something there, but also check attachments to see if the listing agent has already included the lead-based paint addendum. Let's look here. And they have, great, and they have it initialed. The thing with the lead-based paint addendum is you, as the buyer's agent, you need to make sure that the seller has signed this first before you have your buyer and yourself sign it, okay? Because it has statements like seller's disclosure, presence of lead-based paint. Check one or the other. What if this person, if this is a blank form and you have your client pre-fill this out, and your buyer sign, and then the sellers come back and say, oh yeah, we got lead-based paint, we got this and that. Well, at the end of the day, you've already had your client sign off on this. So you never want to have your buyer sign off on this first. This is one of the forms that the seller needs to have done first. A good listing agent will have the attachment, the document attached in the MLS because they know the property is above a certain age. But if they do not have it, you can always still look, like for example, check somebody that don't have it. This one does. This listing right here. The property looks like it was built in 1943. So it definitely needs a lead-based paint addendum. If you go to agent remarks, you don't see anything. If you go to attachments, oh, I don't see it there. So, but you know you need a lead-based paint addendum. So you would reach out to the listing agent, which you see their information right there, and say, hey, Mr. Listing Agent, my name is XYZ from ABC Realty or First Class Real Estate. And I see we're interested in writing an offer on your property. I see it was built before 1943. Can you please send me a lead-based paint addendum? This is what you need, all right? That's what you need from them. Now, in the meantime, you can continue writing your offer if you need to, but you want to make sure, see, buyer acknowledged, buyer has received a copy of all information listed above, which you have not, so you can't have them sign off. But buyers received a pamphlet from the Protect Your Family from lead-based paint in your home. You as a buyer's agent, you can go ahead and give your buyer that for right now, which if you go back and you're in dot loop, you look at the layout, lead-based paint addendum, and then the pamphlet's right under it. You're gonna click there. You can auto-fill it, but what it is just a add an initial. You can pop it there, assign it to your client, and have them initial that they got it, all right? And this is how long is this page? This is, it's about how many pages? Sorry, guys. It's 20 pages of information for buyers and sellers to kind of be informed of when it comes to properties built in that time frame and risk and things that they can do. So you want to make sure that they have this, okay? Protect Your Family from Lead-Based. That's that little pamphlet. You can go ahead and send that out to your client while you wait on the seller to send you back the lead-based paint addendum before you have your client sign it, okay? Let's look at the lead-based paint addendum. So we kind of looked at it. You put the address right there. Remember, anything built in this year or prior. So it was built in 1978, go ahead and bring this on. Get the lead-based paint addendum. 1978 or prior, you need this. Seller's going to fill this out right here. And buyer's right, they're going to check either buyer waives the opportunity to conduct a risk assessment or inspection on the property for presence of lead-based paint or lead-based paint hazard. Or number 2, within 10 days after the effective date of this contract, buyer may have the property inspected by inspector selected by buyer. And as the buyer's agent, you're gonna always wanna be protecting your client and doing this and checking number 2. If the lead-based paint or lead-based paint hazards are present, buyer may terminate the contract by giving seller written notice within 14 days after the effective date of this contract, and the earnest money will be refunded, okay? So they can go ahead, get it inspected. If they find something within 14 days, they have to back out and they can get their earnest money back. You wanna make sure this is checked and buyers receive copy of all information listed above. If there's something up here that needs to be attached or given to the client, you know, that needs to be checked as well, okay? So as a buyer's agent with First Class, I want to make sure that both of these are checked. Buyers received all copies of the information. This is all completed first. Your buyers received, and you got to protect their family against lead-based paint. You're going to be sending that out to them for them initial, and then you can have your client initial, and you, as the buyer's agent, you will initial this on the brokerage behalf, okay? If you have any other questions about the lead-based paint, please let me know. This is a federal mandate, so it's nothing. Yeah, if you say notice, inspector must be properly inspected as required by federal law, okay? So if you have any other questions about this, please let me know. Thank you so much. Have a great day.